it's hard. I don't know if you've been through it. Most people have, but yeah, it was sometime or another. Some of them are harder than others, the way this one went down. And
Mm.
also too, because I've had more time to spend, um, with him, and then your bond gets tighter and it's harder. So yeah, I'm hanging in there. I got two other ones to keep me going, so, and they're handling it pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I had lost another one just like 6 months ago. So I think that's part of the
Oh
thing
my
is I'm
goodness.
just it's just too much,
It's a lot of loss
Yeah, it really is.
on top of
Yeah,
all the other loss we're all
exactly.
living through.
It's
Yeah.
a crazy time, very
Mhm.
crazy. Um, oh, it's got someone coming in that I don't even like recognize. I'm not sure. I guess I'm going to take a chance that maybe they changed their name. We'll see what we get. If it's some crazy person, I'll let go. Hey,
Hi.
let's see. Hey, how's it going? Good to
Good.
see
How are
you
you?
guys. Pretty good. I've got someone else coming in here. Just gonna I was just telling Stephanie I got someone coming in that I don't recognize their name, but hopefully that when they show up we'll we'll recognize them. Um, see. Oh, it looks like Chris was trying to get in and then something happened. Let's try him again. Um, there's Pete and Katie, Rosie. Um, hello, Chris. How's it going?
Hi.
Hey, let's see. Who else? Were your no, your name is Chris. I just saw someone come in that said the name makes sense now. Was that you guys? No, yeah, I don't know what that was. Anyway, I don't see them up on the screen now though. Maybe they realized they were in the wrong meeting. So that was weird. Okay, strange things happening in Zoom. Okay, so we got four. Um, we're only going to have five today. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, Pete, how's it going?
We're good.
Good.
Katie will be joining me a little bit later.
Okay, wonderful.
Rosie's here.
Let's see, who are we missing? Shannon, Christopher, and Reginald. We'll wait till they get here. Um, Quinn and Scooter, if you guys remember her and her dog, they won't be continuing. It didn't work out with Scooter in the house. Their other dog wasn't accepting Scooter, so they had an incident where the other dog did leave a little puncture wound on Scooter. So unfortunately, they had to send Scooter back to one tail at a time. Nothing through no reason that any behavioral issues with Scooter. It was just not a good fit for their house. So I'm sad for Quinn because I know how hard that must be. She was really pretty upset about it. But I feel Scooter's a pretty cool dog. I think he's going to get a good home. But anyway, so she and Scooter won't be joining us for the rest of the class. So right now we are just waiting on Shannon, Christopher, and Reginald. Let's see if they snuck in while I wasn't looking. Well, I do not see them. Okay. Um, we'll get going here. I was just telling Stephanie, and I had to, it's kind of sad, but I kind of want to get it out of the way because it's been a rough last few days, but I had to let my dog go. Was really sick, and that was the family emergency. Um, uh, but it was the right thing to do, and he's not in pain anymore. So that being said, I will be all right in 2 seconds. Okay, so got my other two. They are doing very well, and they will be doing some demoing today. So let's go ahead and start. Let's see. Okay, still don't see them. So I'm just going to turn to full screen. So I wanted to start really quickly and talk a little bit about capturing calm. I talked about that in orientation about waiting for and rewarding behaviors that you want to see. And I just kind of want to touch on that again and reiterate, and specifically um, capturing calm moments when you notice your dog is doing something calm, having treats at the ready. And I was going to add that when you're capturing calm, sometimes it's best not to use a clicker. If, I can't remember who's using clickers here and who's using marker words. But when you're trying to capture calm, it's usually best just to use a marker word and use a calm. You can still use if you're using a marker, you can continue to use that marker word, but to say it in as calm a way as you can, and as not to arouse your dog if you're capturing a calm moment, you want to kind of keep things calm, basically. So in other words, so keep treats available and just throughout the day and be watching and taking advantage of those moments, and just give you a nice calm marker word such as yes, but calmly. Also a trainer friend of mine uses the word nice, because when you say that, it's very easy to do that in a calm manner. And some of the things like watch when they're standing calmly. Maybe they're watching something, a distraction, and they're not reacting to it. Give them a nice calm marker word and deliver a treat calmly. Maybe they're on the floor and they stretch out. Mark that calmly. They lay down on their own. Even when they're falling asleep, you can calmly mark that and lay a treat next to them. So just be at the ready to take advantage of those moments, and mark and reward it calmly. And you're going to start seeing, like I said, you're going to start seeing a lot more of that. Another thing I wanted to touch on is other ways to reward our dogs other than always using treats. Treats are great, and we can keep rewarding treats, to the end of time. We can start thinning them out as time goes on, but something that's really cool to do is to start using something called life rewards. And basically, that's what that is taking a behavior that your dog really loves to do and using that as a reward for a behavior that your dog not so much loves to do. There's actually a really geeky scientific term for that, and it's called the Premack principle. But really all that means, it's like the grandma rule. If you eat your veggies, you get your dessert. Perfect example of that would be like fetch. Chasing the ball is a behavior they love to do. Dropping the ball, not so much like to do. But when they drop the ball, they get to chase the ball. So we throw the ball for them because they dropped the ball. So just be thinking about incorporating some things that your dogs really like in as rewards for them. So if, say, you want to get a sit from them and then maybe reward them with a game of tug. So think about the things that your dogs really like to do and start trying to utilize those and bring them into your training. I thought since we haven't been together in a couple of weeks, I wanted to just have you guys work. I'm going to introduce one more behavior into the sit down scenario, to have a third position, so that when you're working, which will help them start discriminating cues better instead of just offering automatics. When you have three position, it keeps them on their toes a little better. But I thought we could start doing a little sit down review. Are you guys at the point where all of you, when you're doing sit and down, that you have an empty hand, meaning more of a hand signal than an actual lure with that? Yeah, okay. Perfect. That's sounding good. If so, every one of you are actually at your hand signals now. That's fantastic. So what I think I'm going to do actually today is go ahead and have you guys introduce the verbal. How's it going with down? Are you still Are you using hand signal, empty hand, or are you using a treat in your hand to get the down? How's that coming?
We're using a treat still for down.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Yeah. So I think I'll hold off a little longer with the verbals till next week, which is what I was planning anyway. But if I just get you guys to do some sits and downs, maybe like 5 sits and 5 downs, and I'm just going to do a little troubleshooting, and then I'm going to introduce stand actually after that. So so go ahead and use an empty hand if you can, where you're working towards getting more of more and more working towards a hand signal. But if you still need a lure, feel free to use a lure. Just put that piece of food in your hand and move your dog into position. And if you are still using a lure, I want to go back over to how to start transitioning. Basically, we call it fading out the lure so that you can get that lure out of your hand. That looked fantastic. Good job with Pharaoh there. Very nice. Oh, that's great. Excellent. Very good. That looked great. So I'm just going to go around the circle a little bit. Let's see how it's going here with Gloria. Some sits and downs, wherever you're at, either with just a hand signal or go ahead and putting that food in your hand and using it. Oh, that looks, oh, excellent. Good job, Jesse. Very good. So do you have a treat in your hand?
For the down, I did have a treat in my
Okay.
hand.
And that, you're totally ready to go ahead and get that treat out of your hand. Same with Pharaoh. I'm sorry, is it Atticus or Seneca? I'm so sorry. It's been a couple of weeks.
No,
Seneca.
no worries. That's Seneca.
Seneca. Hey, Seneca. Those are looking fantastic. I think both you and Jesse on those moves with Gloria and Pharaoh are ready to go ahead and give a little fake out treat. Oh, it looks like Pharaoh's maybe not going for that. Have you got your smelliest treat there?
Yep.
You do. Okay. Hold on to that thought. Go ahead and keep doing it with the lure. Let's take a look at Gloria. I'm going to come back to you. Jesse, why don't you give a try with just doing a little.
Gloria, come here. Sit. Down. Yes.
That looked fit. And you had no treat in your hand, right?
No, I had a treat in my other hand, but I didn't have a treat
but in the treat in the hand that you did the motion.
Yeah, she went down. I didn't have a treat in that hand, and
Perfect. That's all. That's what I mean when I mean by getting rid of the treat. I mean that is exactly what you did.
Yep.
Getting rid of the treat in the hand that's doing the signal down.
But still,
and then treating.
Still rewarding the behavior.
And then exactly, and then rewarding from the other hand. So that was perfect. So then eventually that lure, slowly but surely, is going to morph into a hand signal. Once you can get the food out of your hand, which you just did, then you can start making your hand signal less and less dramatic. So right now you're going, it's pretty dramatic all the way down, and then you can just start making, and then eventually your hand can like start flattening out. So you can just start working on your hand signal, looking more like a hand signal instead of a lure, instead of the fake out lure. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
because you've got her to the point now that she's doing it without the treat. There you go. Perfect. That looked great. Great. That didn't notice. Did I get that right?
That was Atticus, but they're both working on it. Yeah.
Okay. Atticus, thank you. Very good. That looked great. So you guys are doing well. So go ahead and just keep up with having no treat in your hand. I can tell
Okay.
Gloria is able to do that. So what I was going to suggest to you, Atticus, Seneca, go ahead and keep the treat in your hand.
Yeah.
Go ahead and do the motion, but don't give her that treat. Mark and reward and give it a treat from your other hand. So it's still sort of a fake out where she's going for the treat in your hand.
Yes.
but you're giving her the other treat. That looked great. You got it. So it's just kind of a variation on the fake out. So what you're doing is you're getting her used to going down and getting a little delay in her treat, because you're going to give it to her from the other hand. And then eventually you're going to be able to just take that treat out of your hand completely and just do the hand signal. So that's kind of a variation on the fade. So it's looking really good. I'm going to move around a little bit. Let's see how it's going with Ollie. So it looks like, I'm not sure exactly what happened there.
Sorry,
did he just give you a default down? Whoops, I lost you. Did he give you a default down?
Okay, Ollie, sit. Down. Good girl.
Oh yeah, you guys are getting right on there.
Girl.
Excellent. Okay, you guys are doing great.
Yeah.
And also I would also continue to work on hand signals too, because it's really nice to have both of those in your repertoire.
Yeah.
So since you're already at the verbal with that, but sometimes maybe just before you give the verbal, go ahead and give a hand signal.
Okay.
Unless he's more comfortable with the verbal, then you might want to say the verbal first and then follow it with the hand. So I'm not sure exactly where he's at with that.
Depends on the day.
Okay, I would then typically what I would recommend is you go ahead and just give the hand signal first.
Come on.
And that way, and still just continue to work on both of them. If he's only sometimes doing it with the verbal,
Yeah.
then what that tells me is the verbal's not solid.
Yeah.
So the way we go about making that verbal solid, I'm actually going to hold off on this because we're going to do this next week. But I will just give you, since you guys are already there, is we say the verbal, and if they don't respond to the verbal, we quickly go ahead and give them the hand signal, because we want to bail them out. We don't want them to be, you can give them a moment to think, but
Yeah.
if they're not going down on the verbal immediately, we just want to go ahead and follow it up with the cue that they do tend to know better. And eventually they're going to start making that, forming that pairing of the verbal with the hand signal, sorry. It'll become more solid. So eventually the verbal will be solid. Because if you're just getting, oh, sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't, it just tells me that he hasn't fully made that strong association yet with the verbal. So if you want to make that verbal solid, then go ahead and be ready to bail them out with the hand signal, so that you're still succeeding, and so that they can make that powerful association. So how's it going with little Rosie? Or big Rosie, I should say. She's getting pretty big. Wow, 2 weeks has made a big difference there. Look at Rosie.
All right, let me see if I can get her to do each. Rosie. All right, we're itching.
Oh boy, there she goes. But there's her thing.
Okay, hold on. Let's, here we go.
She's like,
Yeah, we got.
Is she still defaulting to the rollover thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what you can do is if you ask for a sit and she does a rollover, then you can, I mean, it's up to you guys. It's so cute. It's hard to ignore. But if you really, want to get those solid sits and downs, yeah, that's great. There you go. That's perfect. Fantastic.
Yeah. Sometimes it depends. Sometimes she'll do it. Most of the time she does straight down and rolls over. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, you can just make that be your down. That's totally you guys' call.
Yeah.
If you really want to get her to only do the down and not do the rollover, then it's pretty simple. You just won't reward her for the rollover. You won't punish her. You'll just kind of just walk away and ignore it, and then come right back up and try it again. And I just be ready. And one thing I will add, she did that when she did that down just now. I think if you had moved quickly enough, you might have been able to capture it before she moved into that rollover. So a lot of it might just be like being ready to respond a bit quicker. You know what I mean? because she hesitated. There was a little pause, and then she decided to go ahead and do her cutie patootie move. So again, that's up to you guys. But if you really want to get the solid sits and downs, more traditionally, just one, get in there quickly with the reward when she does it before she has a chance. And if you can't get in there quickly enough to get that reward, then just ignore it, walk away, come back in a few seconds, try again. But I think, and the downs are definitely the trickier one because she's on the floor, and that's her thing now, is to do that. So, but all together, it's looking great. So I'm just going to quickly demonstrate a stand with my lolly. Basically, that is, we just want to get them in a sit, and we want to put the treat right at their nose and pull directly out and parallel to the floor. And as they're moving and coming up out of the sit into, once they get up into the stand, you're going to let go of the treat in your hand. Teaching this the same as the others, starting out with the treat in our hand, and then doing the same progression where we get rid of the treat. Or as Seneca demonstrated, keep the treat, mark and reward from the other hand until eventually you can get the treat out of your hand. So that was kind of an in-between way to fade the lure in our hand. So I'll do a quick little demo with Lolly. All right, girl, you're up. Okay. Go to full screen. Okay. Let's see. Let's get you where you're really visible. Okay, that looks good. So I'm going to put the treat in her nose, and I'm going to lure directly out. Good girl. Try that one more time. We'll come over here. Hey, nice job. Go get it. Over here. Oops. Okay. So does that make sense? You guys want to give it a whirl? Just basically treat at the nose, a good smelly treat, one that you think they'll move for. Easier to do it out of a sit. You can try it from a stand. It's usually better to go ahead and start from a sit when you're teaching this because it is the least challenging of the two. Just put that smelly treat at their nose. You can waggle it a little bit if you want. Sometimes that helps kind of get them moving. Gloria is saying, nah, I ain't going to go for it. Oh, almost. Maybe make a little kissy noise. She's like, oh, no, I think you want it down. That's what you want there. So when you try it a few times and you're not being successful, go ahead and just give a little break instead of continuing to try, because it can cause some frustration. Reset them, get them in a, move around, get them back in a sit again. And you could even try it from a stand with Gloria. Maybe that might be a better position for her. Oh, there she is. Yay, Gloria got it. There it was. Sometimes just resetting them, starting over. So that's one of the reasons it's best to reset. Looks like Pharaoh is a little distrustful of that lure. He's like,
Is there a command that goes with this one?
There is. We're going to be saying stand.
Stand.
We usually wait a little longer to add the verbal.
Okay.
After we've got a pretty solid rendition of what we're looking for. Hey, Jesse, how's it going over there with Gloria? I want to.
Good.
Oh, that's right. We just did it with her. Yeah. You want to try one more with her?
Sure. Gloria.
Kind of curious to see.
Good.
Oh, yeah. Okay. She's got it now. Excellent. How's it going over with Ollie?
She does not like moving from sit, but we're working on it.
Okay. She gets pretty dug in. So what you can try to do is maybe even make a little kissy noise, a little, and make the treat a little animated. Looks like, here you go. Nice. She did a little bounce hop there. Doesn't matter. She got herself up in a stand. So just kind of whatever you need to do. Excellent. Sometimes just making the treat animated can do the trick. They
Okay.
love, it kind of triggers some primal drive in them to make the food move. Yep, there it is. Excellent. Looking good with Ollie. So yeah, on this one too, we're going to add the verbals next week. We like to, generally speaking, just like to get the hand signals really looking strong and the behavior looking good. So how's it going, little Rosie there? So get it right up on her nose. Sometimes it helps if you actually stand too. It can be a little more encouraging for them to lift up and pull out when you're actually up too. Yeah, there it is. Nice. That looked great. Let's try it one more time with Rosie.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Stephanie.
Is this to just get them move, like if they're sitting and protesting and getting them to move, or what is
Purpose of this one?
Mhm.
Yeah. Stand can be great maybe at the vet when you can't get your dog to stand up for the vet. Sometimes they're refusing to stand up. But more importantly, what this is for, it's less utilitarian and more just good to have a third position. So when you're working on sits and downs, dogs pick up on patterns really quickly. But when you can start mixing in a third position, they really have to pay attention. And so that it helps them discriminate the cues a lot better. So you can just start working on sits and downs, throw in a stand. It's like, whoa, what? Instead of them just being, oh, sit down, start picking up on the pattern. You can start going sit, stand, down. Well, not down, that would be hard. Sit, stand, sit, down, sit, stand. So you just get all this mixed in. And if you keep working on it like that, your dog is going to be forced to pay attention and not just go on autopilot. And then they will really start to discriminate those cues. As you do that in different environments, multiple environments to proof those cues. Otherwise, you can wind up with a dog that just kind of does something sometimes. Until we really get those cues solid, it'll be pretty sketchy. So that's really the main thing that stand is for, is to have
Can you
a third
move directly
position.
from down to stand?
Say again?
Can you move directly from down into stand, or do you have to go through sit first?
Oh, you can definitely teach it that way. The reason I was just starting with sit was that it tends to be a little easier for the dogs to go from a sit to a stand. But by all means, once you're getting a good sit to a stand, I would start making it even more challenging for them to like throw that in there.
Cool.
That just another way to solidify the cues. Because that is a pretty determined move to go from a down to a stand. It takes some effort. So cool. All right. I think I got everybody there. Oh, let's see how Pharaoh's doing there. Still like, maybe. Try waggling it a little bit, Seneca. And then maybe being a little animated yourself as you move backwards. Yay! Bravo! The art of training, Seneca. Bravo for you. Yes. You can just start trying things and you'd be amazed at what works for one dog won't work for another dog. So you just kind of like get to know your dog and what sort of motivates them. So that looks great. I'm proud of you for doing that. Do some wiggles, move it backwards, Seneca. Go back, go, come on. Now he's like, oh, now I don't trust you. Now you're acting too weird. So yeah, there is a fine line when they are like, I don't know what you're doing there. Okay, you guys, that's looking great. We're going to move on. Let's see. And just make sure, just a little reminder that you work with the dog that's in front of you. So maybe yesterday you got in that spot in your house, you got your dog to do, a sit without a lure, a sit and a down, a stand, completely with hand signals. And now you moved into the backyard and suddenly that seems more challenging to them. Then just make everything easier. Put the lure back in your hand and use the lure until you can work up. Every environment is going to change what they're capable of doing. Every time there's different distractions. So just try to always be creative and try not to make assumptions that because they did it there and then at one criteria, they should be able to do it here and now at the same criteria. And just always be willing to change your strategies if you can. Yeah. And not expect more than maybe they're able to give. Okay, we're going to work a little bit. Let's take a quick look at the time. Okay, looking good. So we're going to work a little bit again on stay. A couple of weeks ago, we were just doing a little bit of duration, and I believe we did a little bit of distance, just a couple of steps or whatever you were ready. I'm not sure where you guys are at right now, but today what I'd like to do is start working towards turning our backs on our dogs. Breaking eye contact, when you break eye contact with your dog, it's very challenging for them to remain in place. They can, it throws them off. So we have to do that slowly in very small increments. So today what we're going to work on is trying to slowly turn away from our dog. And sometimes what that might look like, because if you try to, it depends on the dog, but if you just try to immediately just turn your back completely on your dog, most likely they're going to break their stay. So what we like to do is do it in tiny little bits. So it might mean all you do is stand in front of your dog and turn your shoulder. It's going to depend on your dog, because sometimes even just a little minor turn can immediately cause your dog to pop up. So you'll have to figure that out. You can test your dog once and see how that's going. Don't keep testing them because that's not training. I'm going to do it with Lolly. She is not the best at stay, but we'll see how she can do with me turning away from her a little bit. So I want to start having you guys work towards being able to turn all the way around and back to your dog, but it's going to take, like I said, small increments. And eventually what I'd like you to be able to do is walk around your dog, and that's even more challenging, and that's something you have to do again in small increments. So I'm going to try both right now with Lolly. First, I'm just going to try to slightly turn my back on her. It's okay. Stay. Nicely
She did
done.
great. She got
So
it.
each time I do a stay, I want to release her from the stay and reset her so that it's not one long stay, but a series of repetitions of stay. Stay. Okay. Nicely done. Okay, come here. That's actually surprised me. I didn't think she would be able to do that. So heck, I'm going to go for rope now. Stay. Whoa. Okay. Nicely done. Okay, that was shocking. I was really surprised at that. Okay. So I'd like for you guys to give a try to do that very same thing. Slowly turning your back on your dog. You can do one to test first to see if you can actually go all the way around. And if they break their stay, then obviously that's more than they're capable of. So, yeah. That was great. Atticus. Fantastic. Good job, Pharaoh. So yeah, and then when you're done, you can just toss the treat out, and then you can bring it back up for another round. Whoa. That was great. Wow. Okay. Impressive there. Impressive. Good job to both of you. Bravo. Okay. I'm going to move over here to Gloria. See how little Gloria's doing there.
Gloria, 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 sit.
Gloria.
Atticus, one voice. Gloria, sit. Hey, Gloria.
So what I would say right now, yeah, I was going to say, just put some food, get some food in there, get her up. Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Very good. Wow. Okay. You guys we're all doing really good with this stay today. So then I would release Gloria before she releases herself, because we want to be in control of the beginning of the stay and the end of the stay. So what I would do is just say, okay, or free, and toss a treat off before she walks away out of the stay. She did great. She did the stay. The only thing great mechanics on your part. That's the only thing that I would change there. Just make sure she's not the one that gets up and releases herself, that you give her permission to.
All right.
So that way there's a beginning and an end. And then because there's a beginning and end, we can work on making the middle part there get bigger and bigger of, time and distance and duration and all that. So
giving it, like tossing a treat so that she can go up and get it.
Yeah. And then and what I like to do is say a release word. You can say free, okay, it's your choice, then toss the treat. So eventually she's going to associate that release word with the treat.
Okay.
So then eventually you can just say free or okay, and she'll just release herself. What the release word is telling her is that she is free to go be a dog again, and she no longer has obligations to you. So we just want her to be pairing that with the food so that eventually she'll make that association on her own. And when you say that release cue, she will know that she can stop that stay and walk away. So throwing the treat is just a good way to build that release cue. So yeah, again, everyone, we want to be the ones to end the stay. We don't want our dogs to end the stay, because if they end the stay, it's just going to be, it's like, it kind of works against the stay and the whole concept of it. We want them to wait for us to tell them it's the end of the stay. And plus it helps you reset. It's how you reset to begin another stay. So let's take a look at Ollie. Wow, is that some kind of little fancy high five there he just gave you there? That was cute.
Sometimes when we just do the same stuff, I just like to throw in one that's different so that she stops like going up and down.
There you go. There you go. That's a good thing to do. Let's see some stays from Ollie.
Good. Stay.
Nice. And now I give a little release cue and toss a treat for Ollie. Let him know that was the end and he is free to go about his business. That looked great. Everybody's able to like turn all the way around. That's like not common, actually. Let's check on little Rosie. How's she doing? Very good. Excellent. Now I toss a treat for her. Tell her, say free, okay, and then toss a treat. That looked great. Wow. Not only did you just turn your back on her, you also walked away from her as well. Those are two challenging things. Very good. And then return back to her. I love that. Excellent. And then give her a release cue and then toss that treat. That's looking great, you guys. Very happy with this. So yeah, in the end, parting words on this is this could change in another environment. if you've got some distractions going on, I can almost guarantee you, maybe I'm wrong, but that it's going to be harder to get them to let you turn your back on them. So just be ready to adjust your criteria. Also, build your criteria slowly. If you get 5 out of 5, you can move on, make it harder. 3 out of 4 out of 5, stay where you are and keep working at that same difficulty level. If they're only getting 1 or 2 out of 5 correct, then it's too hard and you're spinning your wheels. So excellent. Any questions? I really liked what I saw. Okay. Oh, just a reminder, always bungee back to treat your dogs. It looked like everyone was doing that. And don't keep repeating the stay. And I didn't see anyone doing that. It looked like everyone was just saying it once and that being the end of it. And also just a general reminder, just across the board, try to remember not to say your dog's name. If you're just trying to get their attention, try to remember just say it once. And if you don't get their attention, then just try to make some like noises to try to get their attention. Because if we say their names repeatedly, they will begin to tune their name out and it won't really mean anything to them anymore. So it's just a rule of thumb. And we are all guilty of that. So it's really hard that they don't pay attention to you. I even do it, even as, having been as a trainer, I tend sometimes to repeat my dog's name because you're just thinking, well, they didn't do it once, but maybe on the second time, maybe on the third time, maybe on the fourth time. But it's not helping your cause at all when you repeat their name. It's just making it easier for them to not pay attention to it. So everyone's looking good. I'm actually amazed that everyone was able to turn their backs on their dogs. So kudos to you guys. You've obviously been doing your work. Okay, we're going to move on to leave it. I don't remember where everyone was, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of start from scratch again. But it's not really starting from scratch, because I always like for people when they're practicing a behavior, especially when you're doing leave it, is to just go ahead and start to warm up with just the very beginning step. And that's the closed fist. Say leave it, present your closed fist. As soon as they disengage from your hand, mark and reward that. Do that 2 or 3 times. Then we're going to move on to the open hand. Treat in your hand, kind of far out. We don't want them to go for it at all on this step. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and get little Abigail out here to do a little quick review demo on that, and then we're just gonna have you guys go around and show me where you're at with that. So give me 1 minute to go grab her. Come on, Loss. Okay, I've got little Abigail. So we're going to warm up with the closed fist first. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, I'm doing that. Pulling out my mat. Okay. Low value treat in my leave-in hand. Leave it. Good girl. Leave it. As soon as she disengaged, now I'm going to open my palm. Leave it. She went for it, so I'm not counting that. Leave it. Girl, so she did not go for it at all. That's what I'm looking for. Leave. Come on. There we go. It's okay. Leave it. Well, she went for it a little bit. She's pretty excited. Leave it. Whoops. I'm gonna try that one more time. Leave it. Whoops. So I'm not gonna proceed. I'm gonna go back to closed hand. Leave it. Good girl. Leave it. So I'm gonna try open hand one more time. There we go. Leave it. I'm gonna count that. She barely went for it. Leave it. Great, good girl. There you go. So what I'm looking for is her not to go for it at all when I'm using the open hand. So I'm going to have you guys just go around real quick and do some closed hands. Mark and reward when they disengage. Do 2 or 3 and then give a try. Move on to the open hand, and then we're going to proceed to open hand all the way down to the floor.
No treat in the closed fist.
Okay,
correct?
in the closed hand, a lower value treat, and mark and reward with a higher value treat from your other hand. So we want to make the leave it thing less attractive. So in real life scenario, they leave the thing on the sidewalk, they get something better. So we're going to put that present. So syndicate, yeah, you're going to put that hand, put it right up. So Ollie was that was great. So if they don't go for your hand at all, that's fantastic. Because when you go to open hand, that's what you want. So if you're using a closed hand and they just don't even like make an effort to go at your hand, then you're already, you're ready for that open hand.
Okay.
So that looks great with Ollie. I'll just start working with Ollie here.
Leave it.
That's great. That's fantastic. I think, yeah, just do 2 or 3 more like that.
Leave it.
That looks great. You can start working on lowering your hand towards the floor because that's where we're going today.
Okay. Huh? Cool. Great.
Okay, let's take a look at little Rosie over here. So when Rosie just kind of lowered herself into a down, we consider that a leave it because she did not, she left it. So you can just, great, looking good. Try a couple. That is the strangest thing. So I just keep on, I go ahead and use an open hand with her. And if she rolls over instead of goes for it, then we're going to count that as a win. It looks like, what's your other dog's name, Pete?
Our other dog is Kaya.
Leave it.
Kaya. Looks like she was doing some leave-its there.
Yeah, we're trying to get. She's kind of bad with leave-its, so we're gonna do
Double training.
Nice. I love how she's just relaxing on the couch. That beats any training. I mean, that is what you go for. You're
That's what
working.
you get when you're 4 years old.
If you're 4 years old, that's still a baby. My dogs are so old. It's like that to me is like that is the prime of youth there. But yeah, if she's actually chilling on the couch while you're training with your other dog, that is golden. Wow. Okay. So let's see some leave-its from Rosie.
Good.
Yeah, so let's do some open hands. Very good. Let's try lowering that hand a little bit.
Okay.
So we'll say the leave it and pause just a little bit before we present the hand.
Rosie, leave it. Yes.
If she goes for it, that's not the criteria you want for the open hand. So what I would try doing, instead of closing your hand, I try moving your hand further away from her.
Mm.
Yeah. Just make it a little less tempting for her to nose towards it.
We leave it.
There it is.
Good. Leave it.
So now, next time around, Katie, I'd try moving it further down, but further out.
There.
Try that, because we're all headed towards the floor with that hand. So we got to get them
Rosie, leave it.
slowly but surely. We got to get. Ah, yeah, I'll take that. She didn't go for it. And then we want to just move that hand away. Don't leave it hanging out there, making it more. I love that ballet move there. Yeah.
Almost
Woo,
fell.
I'm catching myself. Good move. Yeah, that looked great. So just keep moving it further down, and
But
if
further away.
and be ready to remove your hand. Once she succeeds, we want to get the hand away, so it's not just hanging out there, making it more tempting for her to go for it. So after you mark and reward it, just go ahead and pull it back, and then reset. That's looking good. Yeah, our goal is to keep working on that until we're lowering it further and further, until we're actually laying our hand on the floor with the treat in our hand. So that just means slowly but surely, and Abigail, slowly but surely in small increments, lowering it, but keeping it far enough away that they don't get too tempted. If you're finding they're still going for it as you're lowering it, then you might need to graduate back to the closed hand. And then you'll work on the closed hand until they do the thing where they don't go for it at all. And instead of going for it and then disengaging, they don't go for it at all. And then it's like, okay, now let's try the open hand again, because we're getting a strong urge, a strong sign that they're not going to go for it at all. So let's see how Gloria's doing with this.
Gloria, come here. Leave it.
Oh, beautiful. That looked great. Excellent.
Open
So
hand.
I think you can probably start working on an open hand.
Yes, we've been doing a little open hand with her too. So
Oh, excellent. Excellent.
That
We're
was
just-
open-handed.
Say again.
That was open-handed.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see that. Okay. Okay. Fantastic. Wow. Okay. So why don't you try to start lowering your hand further to the floor, because eventually this next step, what we're going for is that our hand is actually laying on the floor with the treat in it.
So like high value or the low value?
Still low value treat in the leave it hand, and high value treat for the reward. And if you find they're going for your open hand, try putting it. Oh, wow. That was fantastic. Excellent. Great. That looked really good. So it looks like you're on the right track there. Does that make sense? What, I mean, did you have any questions?
is the goal to be able to drop something, like to say leave it, drop something, and have them just leave?
Yep.
That-
Because you got it, Jesse.
Okay.
What we're trying to do is work towards what it's going to look like in real life. And
Yeah.
what it's going to look like in real life is the thing is already going to be there. So hang on, my little chihuahua's,
That's okay.
hang on one sec. Come on. Yeah, so in real life, the thing is going to be, yeah, so let me just kind of back up to that, because sometimes it is easy to lose track of, where we're going with this and where we're going to wind up. In real life, they're going to see probably before us something on the sidewalk. So when we say leave it, it's actually going to be after they've already noticed it. Right now, we are saying leave it before we put it out there for them to notice. So the idea is we're slowly but surely moving the leave it cue to after they see it, but we have to go slowly. So, and we're also slowly but surely bringing the thing closer to the ground. And once things are on the ground, it's where dogs live. And that's when it gets super challenging, is once the thing is on the ground. But we're not quite ready to put it on the floor by itself. we're trying to still involve ourselves a little in it by keeping it in our hand, but lowering our hand to the floor with it in it. The step after that will be putting the food directly on the floor. The step after that will be dropping it gently. Step after that will be starting to toss it. And all the while changing the position of where the leave it cue is. So right now we're saying it before. Eventually we're going to start saying it at the same time. And then eventually we're going to be saying it after we've thrown the treat. And then we're going to actually have a more of a scenario that looks like real life. So it is just a slow building to try to recreate a real life scenario, and doing it slowly and sort of shaping the situation for them so that when the real life scenario presents itself, they'll be prepared for it. So does that make sense? How we're kind of just sort of manipulating it to slowly look like what it's going to look like in real life. So yeah, so now we're lowering it to the floor with the treat in our hand, laying it on the floor, laying our palm on the floor with the treat in our hand. And then we're going, if we start succeeding with that, where the dog is not going for it at all, then we're actually going to place the treat on the floor. And boy, that's a big one for the dog. It's like, okay, that belongs to me. But that's why we have to go really slowly to that point, because they live on the floor. So if there is something on the floor, I mean, they just assume that that's for them, right? I mean, like, of course it's for me. So, so we build slowly to that. But all the while, we need to be really solid on each step before we move on to the next one, or we can't really keep going. So it looks like, Jesse, you guys are doing really well with the open palm. And it looks like you were almost to the floor, if not on the floor there once. So just keep working on that. What's very important, though, is that once we've got that open palm and we're working on it, that we only reward our dogs if they don't go for it at all. So that's kind of where we're at right now. And if you find that they're still going for it, then you need to go back to your closed fist. Just kind of go all the way back to step one and get really solid on that, and then keep going. So yeah, right now, if you feel you're ready for it, go ahead and start working towards laying your hand on the floor with the treat. And if you're not ready for that, start working on slowly lowering your hand to the floor. Move your hand far enough out and a little up if you need to make them successful. We want to practice. Practice makes perfect, but only mostly perfect practice makes perfect. We have to practice success or we won't get anywhere. So, okay. Let's see. That's looking good. Try not to use the leave it cue anywhere else except during actual training for leave it. Okay, just really quickly, we're gonna work on recall today. I want to just tell you a quick little exercise. We've been playing the name game with our dogs, our puppies. You say their name. When they orient towards you, you've been marking, rewarding that. So now what I'd like for you to do is say their name. When they orient towards you, look at you, I'd like you to go ahead and add, have a few feet between you. I'd like you to go ahead and put in your recall cue. Does everyone know what you want for your recall cue? Come to, come or, what have you. It's totally up to you guys, but you need to get one and stay and stick with it. So does everyone kind of know what you want to use for that? Yeah, I got looks like Stephanie, looks like you guys kind of know what you want to use. Okay. How about you, Jesse? And
Yeah, we're good.
okay, so how about Pete and Katie? You guys know what you're going to use? Okay, cool. So I want you to say your dog's name, put a little distance. When your dog orients towards you, I want you to deliver your recall cue, be very excited, very animated. And as your dog starts to move towards you, I want you to mark that disengagement from the environment towards you, and then treat them, mark and reward them when they get there. And I would like for you to reach out and just grab their collar or their harness right before you treat them. So it's the same thing with as a name game that you've been playing, but now you're adding the recall cue in there. So say their name, you get that head orientation, they start moving towards you, mark it. When they get to you, reach out and touch their collar or their harness and deliver the treat. The reason we're doing the collar and the harness is because we want them to get comfortable with being touched around the collar and the harness. That's a number one bite stimulus for dogs, is discomfort with that. And also, when your dog is used to you reaching out to grab their collar or their harness, they're going to be more likely to come all the way to you and less likely to do the drive-by recall, where they come about 5 feet away, zoom by, and then take off again. So just try to get in a habit of that for now anyway, of reaching out and touching their collar. I just need 2 more minutes. I'm going to quickly deliver the 5 rules of recall, and I'll go over them again next week, but just something, it's in the homework. Never call your dog for something they don't like. Don't call them for a bath. Don't call them to break up play. Go and get them. Otherwise, you're punishing it, and behaviors are punished, go down in frequency. Only call your dog when you're reasonably sure they are going to come to you. Sounds strange and counterintuitive, but we want to practice success. If you keep calling your dog and they're not coming, you're practicing failure. So you want to wait for the opportunity where it looks like they're going to actually respond, and then you're going to call them. Number 3, if you fail number 2 and you call them and they don't come, save your recall cue. Don't just keep saying go and get them and bring them in. Don't if you fail to get them to come, don't run your recall cue. Number 4 is just don't repeat the recall cue. Go and get them. And number 5 is the best reward you've got, the highest value reward you have should be reserved for recall. Always, always the highest value rewards for recall. So again, just practice the name game, and now you're adding the recall cue. When they turn towards you, you're being very animated, excited. Mark as they move towards you. Deliver the treat as you reach out. First reach out and just kind of touch their collar or their harness and deliver the treat. I have someone with a question here. I'm going to quickly check that. Oh, sure. Will do, Jesse. So I think that does it for today. Let's see. I'll go over those recall rules again. Sure.
So again, if you have a failed recall, if you say recall and they just ignore, if you say come and they just ignore you, do you completely bail on it? You just go back to them and no treat, but you just kind of start over from scratch and do something different? Or
if you're depending on, so basically don't keep trying, if that's what you mean. And if you need them and you in a situation where you really need them, then just go and get them, hook them with the leash or, however you want to get them. If you're just practicing in the house and that happens, just walk away, ignore it, come back and try again, 2 or 3 minutes. So yeah, nothing more than that, nothing more dramatic in that. And if they're just not paying attention, just the main thing to do is try not to have too many of those failed recalls, because what you're doing is you're waiting for the opportunity to try to have a successful recall. There's kind of an art to it, of just kind of like, if they're they're super intent on smelling something and you can see they're really, really distracted, don't try it. If you're kind of seeing, you'll learn to read it. Just watching for that opportunity to get a successful one in. But we all have those moments when it fails, and your best bet is just to ignore it and walk on. But if you're in a situation where you need to get your dog, then you should just go and get your dog.
I was asking for a friend.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Got it. Yeah, we all have those friends. Okay. All right, you guys. Fantastic. I'm just going to hang out for a second and talk to Jesse, and we'll see you next week. Glad to have you, and take care.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, Chris. Bye. Bye. Hey, Jesse.
Hi there.
How can I help you?
Gloria is very jumpy, especially with greetings. She really likes to jump up. It's sort of her default greeting, which, you know, is cute and all, but she's going to be big, and we
She's going to be a
definitely,
big girl.
I mean, I don't think she's going to be huge, but she's probably going to be 50 to 65 pounds, which is way too big to be jumping on people. And as nice it is when puppies jump, it's not something that we want for her to do long term. So
Yeah.
wondering what your best practice is for.
Yeah. You know what I'm going to do is, let me make a quick note of that. I'm going to send you a couple little videos of a couple of exercises that you can work with on her. But the general philosophy that we're working with here is that what we want to do is, first of all, you know, part of the equation is when she does jump, we want to make sure we're giving her no attention whatsoever, meaning you're not pushing her down or you're not touching her, or she's jumping up for attention. So we just have to be careful not to add any attention in there and just turn our backs on her, ignore her. That alone does not solve the problem, but that's just part of the equation, is just trying to, in essence, punish. And it's the mildest form of punishment, and that means we're withholding reinforcement. So she's not getting what she wants if we just turn our backs and ignore her. So that's part of the equation. The other part is creating scenarios so that we can reward her for what we want. So we have to decide what we want. And I'm guessing probably all you want is her to keep 4 feet on the floor. It doesn't have to be a sit, right? You just want her not to jump.
Yeah.
So we have to create scenarios. We have to work on setting it up so that we can reward her for creating opportunities to reward her for the 4 on the floor before she has an opportunity to jump. So there's a couple of 3 things that little things that I can send you to help you like work on that. We don't really do much on that in this class, which we're actually changing the curriculum a little bit, where we are going to focus a little more. We do that in basic manners, but not so much in this class. So I'm glad you actually asked that, because I can like reach out to you and give you some help with that. I'll send you a couple of videos, and I don't know what else I got, but I've got some other things that'll help you do just what I said. And that is, first of all, we want to ignore it and don't add any reinforcement. But then the other thing is to make sure that we are able to reward her for reward her for doing what we want. So we just kind of have to set that up a little bit. And that would kind of involve, like, say you're walking into the room and you see her approaching you and she's still got 4 feet on the floor. This is, just a quick little throw out there. And you see her moving towards you, and you know she's coming up and she's going to jump on you. As you see that she's still got the 4 feet on the floor, you can try to have someone else ready and at the ready to reward her as you walk up, and reward her while she's still got the 4 feet on the floor. So she's actually getting rewarded for the 4 feet on the floor as you're coming up to her before she jumps up on you. So we're just trying, it's like the fine art of trying to catch the behavior you want before they do the behavior you don't want. So it's just like, it just takes some setups. So I'll send you what I can on that and see if I can help you get going on that. But it's a good question. I'm glad you reached out about that, because it's definitely, with the larger dogs, it can be even more of a problem, just.
It's like they can knock you over. Like,
Yes, you're right.
Like, hi, bam.
Yep, you got that right. They can definitely do that. Yeah. So we'll see if we can get you some extra resources on that and help you get on the right track.
All right, I appreciate it.
You bet.
For,
all right, you guys take
yeah.
care, and I'll see you next week.
All right, take care.
Okay, bye-bye.